You've been at the Girls Union a long time now. How long?
I started my first day was May 17th, 1997. So I will start my 30th year working here in May. So it's been a long journey, but it's been a fun journey. And I haven't really looked for jobs since I've been here.
And people that don't know you, you're the guy behind the curtain with a lot of sports. You wear a lot of hats at the Girls Union.
Yep. I would say when I was hired in 97, my primary role was to be a backup in the sports information office. For those that have been around for a long time, statistician and information director for the Girls Union. I was in charge of publications, and I have an SID background. I was working at Drake in the athletic union in Drake. SID office at that time did a lot of things together, and that's what got me into my position. And then it's just evolved since then. Still do some of the sports information work. Then I've eventually picked up some sports in between, but I still do the PR side of things. I do all of our rankings and our record books, but then I also manage three sports: swimming, bowling, and softball. Yeah, I've worn a lot of hats, and like I said, I'm not bored very often, and that's what makes this job so fun.
And Iowa, a very unique state in separate boys and girls associations. Is it the only one?
Only one. Yes, we
Only
are
one.
the Lone Ranger. Yep.
Because I remember when we were in sports information. So the only state with two separate associations, and famously the Girls Union, I guess, broke loose from the Boys Union, or started because the boys weren't recognizing the growing sport of girls basketball.
They were told at the time that this was back in the mid 20s that it was not healthy for girls to take part in sports. It was going to hurt them as far as different things and health wise. And AA was following the directive of the NFHS, which is the national governing body, and said that we're not going to sponsor girls sports. And there were some angry superintendents that got together in Des Moines and said, we're going to start our own group if you're not going to let us play. And that's how we got started, in a back room of a church in Des Moines.
But when Title IX becomes law, the Girls Union is so far ahead of the game. It's crazy.
It's true. And we were the example. And so Title IX, quite frankly, really didn't affect Iowa at all when it was implemented.
And that's the other thing, Dr. Cooley. You go to your offices in West Des Moines, and you're really walking into having to carry a legacy of the people before you that really championed and built up girls' sports in this state.
Absolutely. Set the standard, and his rule of thumb was always he wanted the Iowa girl to stand as tall as their male counterparts. And in Dr. Cooley's words, not any bigger, just same. And so that legacy, it is always in the back of our heads, I think, when we do our tournaments. And we've always had the philosophy of putting on great tournaments, because for many high school girls, especially, that this is the pinnacle of their athletic experience, because a lot of them don't go on to play collegiate sports or athletics. We want to make sure that is the standard and giving them an experience that they will never forget.
Before I let you go, because I've known you since we were little kids, one of the great album collectors I've ever known. You are, and you have been your entire life. What's the greatest LP you own?
Beatles' White Album. You don't even have to think
I
about
knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
All right. I think anybody that knows me, that knows my collection, knows that I've got about 6 or 7 different variations and versions of that album. That is the gospel according to John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
I knew you were going to say the White Album. But how big is your collection now?
It is, I would say, right around 1,100 albums, probably.
Wow.
I mean, and the CDs, maybe probably a few more than that too. I'm getting in the process of replacing the CDs with the vinyl, but yeah, it's a dangerous hobby. My wife, I think, would really, what did she tell me one time? She goes, I think things grow in here, and it's not organically. And I'm like, maybe a little, but it's fun. For me, it's the hunt. There's nothing better than when you're just thumbing across stuff and you come across something you really love, and it's, oh man, that is awesome. I don't like to order things. I like to try to see if I can find them. To me, that's the best part.
Yeah. Yes, I always appreciate talking to you. I know I call you.
Oh, it's awesome. I'm so glad you're back in Iowa. I'm so glad
thanks so much, Yes.
You are the
best, and good luck living at the Union. You guys are doing great work down there.